I hit the button and the 3, 2, 1 came up at the same time.
Who was it used to do that? Who was
it? Dusty Bin or whatever the hell the programme was. Bullseye.
Yeah.
Aye. But anyway, good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon, folks. Hold on to Facebook. If we're ready to say much.
Thanks everybody for joining us again. We've got an interesting programme. We've been the idea of talking about the Tory Party. I'm only kidding. See, you're switching off right now. Oh well, fair enough. Click.
Oh, it was they've changed it again. I was on French some while, but now I'm back to only I can see my videos unless I edit the audience.
By the way, sorry about the gigs. My optician shouted at me yesterday for wearing my contact lenses for too long.
Right, folks, we'll be the Facebook. There's a wee chance to go on, and then we'll tell you about a latest contribution to the food bank. The Tory Party conference, we'll get to that and all. Not much on it, was there, David?
It was pretty boring stuff. What can I say? You know.
Well, as Eddie was saying there, you know, it's one of the ones behind the sofa. He's above the sofa, behind the sofa. He's above the sofa. You know, one of the ones. Anyway, Facebook's on. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Avril. Hi, Jane. Hi, Francis. Hi, Vince. Hi, Maggie. Rosie. Irene. Say welcome, everyone. Now we're on board. Where are we? 90. We'll give you minutes. Hi, Gingers.
Yeah.
98. Nearly there. Hi, Walnut. Hi, Neil. We'll be there in a second, guys. Hi, Stuart. Doug's, John. Right, that's us. 112 on the board. Hi, Elizabeth. 3 gates. You can reply to that at your leisure, Elizabeth. Right, folks. Yesterday, we managed to get some money out to Lochaber Food Bank in rural west of Scotland. And Alex for the food bank phoned me this morning to thank you all for your kind generosity.
Yes. And
we're starting to build up a wee record of food banks, and we'll be running them as the shows progress. Thanks very much, John. Driving legend and still a driving god. Welcome back. I haven't seen you for a wee while, mate.
Yep.
You're out the cab and in your office today. Well done, mate. It's a horrible day to be driving anyway. So we managed to get 200 smackaroonies out of Lochaber, and Alex tells us they're in need, and it'll really, really help. Some of these rural communities are suffering real bad, David.
Yes, it's the thing. It's like we're going to have to start casting it. We've been looking very, very much central belt, if you like. But to be honest with you, we're going to have to start casting it a bit fuller.
Well, Oban, if you're listening, tell Hope Kitchen up there, I'm still waiting for the details to be giving some money.
Aye, yeah.
Anybody lives in Oban that's watching this, walk into Hope Kitchen and say, how come you're not getting back to the 2 Davies?
We're not expecting for anybody to write us 3 pages on why we should donate money to them. All we're doing is
money.
If you're there, then you get it. But we do need bank account, sort code. That's it.
That's it. Now, David, we've got a fair-sized audience now, and it's rising like hell. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yep.
Well, we better get into this. So it's the 2 Davies on the 5th of the 10th, 2023. And, of course, we're starting on the Tory Party conferences. We may as well start at the top, with the Prime Minister, Rishi Ratbag.
Prime Minister. If Daily Blazes joined us, it's like, sorry for pinching your name for Rishi Sunak, but the Prime Minister is just too good not to use.
Aye.
Consider it pinched. Anyway, Sunak came out.
I'm just going to make one up in this for a moment. You know, the ones with the Prime Minister called Rishi. He's not even tell of a dishy. His trousers were short, but he was rich as fuck. The UK Prime Minister, Crook Rishi.
When did his wife become a politician? You know, she was at the conference speaking to everybody as if she was part of the whole shebang. You know, the front bench or the cabinet. You know.
Thanks, Stephen. We'll keep up with good work. We'll try. But aye, what was she doing introducing them? You know, how sort of sickening was that? Yeah. Somebody in the face, by the way, it's not him. It's a billionaire. It's me. He's only worth 500 million. It's me. It's the billionaire.
Fucking Love Island. Piss off, right? Anyway, we are each other's best friends, she says.
Aye. Their best friends are Wallet.
Aye.
He fancies hers.
No, in actual fact, there was I've seen the clip a few times of where Rishi Sunak thanks her as she comes away from the podium and thanks her, and he goes up to the podium himself. There was a wee something passed between them there, and it's like I don't think all is well with that little partnership.
Well, she's wanting to get American. He's having to hang on. And let's face it, one of the things he does tell us is apparently we don't want a general election, so it could well be January 2025.
There'll be a big beast comes in for the East. It's like I'll be up to her woman her knees in snow going to vote.
Thanks, Stephen. And he says if you want to be free, vote SNP.
Yeah,
we'll get you some of that stuff.
Out the door in 24.
Aye, Indy, vote for Indy. Right, let's get back to business. Sunak's speech. Right, here we go. What do you make it? Let's go through the points.
It was the biggest chunk of rhetoric, of pointless rhetoric I've ever heard in my life from any politician. Right, but we'll go through it.
Aye, let's do it.
The first part that I heard that was coming in is where he stood up with this idiotic thing where he said, do you know, so how you stack it is men are men and women are women, and there's just no choice. That's it, you know. That
was his contribution because the Suella Braverman breathed fire through his neck, you know. Yeah. So that was his contribution to the gender debate.
Yeah.
Right, which is going on down that road and which is going on here as well.
Yeah. Which was pretty damn ruthless. People that didn't deserve that kind of treatment.
It's culture wars, you know. They haven't got anything. They haven't got a track record to put before the people. The economy, they've failed in every bloody policy program they've been elected on, you know. I mean, David, I seen an interesting post the other day. They're saying day 929 of Build Back Better. Well, it's not quite that much. Build Back Better was the slogan 2021 as they opened up for a pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, somebody's cooking for the start of a pandemic. But the point is, nothing's back, they've built nothing, and nothing's fucking better. You know? Well, a woman's a woman. You know, you can see that being, you can see that being really prominent to certain generations.
Well, I've met two people in my life that were transitioning from being a male to a female, right? And poor, troubled people, they don't deserve that kind of treatment. They don't deserve to be used as a political football.
No, they don't.
And I listened to one lady this morning on TV, and she was talking about from the other side of where women need protection from these people because the toilets thing. Well, you came up with yourself, did. If in the women's toilets or in toilets which would now become both sexes, if you like, just build the blooming stalls, floor to ceiling. That's it.
But David, you and I are engineers. We come up with practical solutions to these things. Politicians want to put barriers in the way to affect what people want to do, right? Whether it be the opposition political party or groups and minorities in society. And as we know, this is a culture war that's going on, because that's what the Tories are trying to win the next election on. We had this with 30 pence Lee and 30p Lee Anderson. You know, we've got nothing else, so we're going to have to divide and conquer to win. You know, but to say you and I are engineers, so a practical solution to a problem is what we would come up with, because we're bloody engineers. You know.
Yeah, it just leaves me with a sick feeling in my stomach, knowing that these two men that I knew that were transitioning to be a woman, right, were very, very troubled individuals at the time, and I just don't like to see that happen. I don't like to see people that are basically they're in a state of weakness at that time.
Because obviously one chromosome is not as prominent as the other chromosome in their body, and they've had to make the hard decision that we're going with Y instead of X.
Yeah, you speak to them, they feel wrong in the body. They feel wrong in the body that they're in, and it's like that's the reason why they want to transition. And I don't feel that. You don't feel that. There's not many people that do, but the people that do,
they
need our support. You know.
But as I say, this is red meat to the gammon. You know, in a certain section of gammon, because if you can get all the gammon sections against each other, then you've got the perfect battlefield. For politics anyway. Divide and conquer has always been the way in the UK.
Anyway, Rishi Sunak, as far as I'm concerned, he scraped the bottom of the barrel with that.
I know he went more in the next one, David.
That was his first statement, right? The next one he came up with was with Nicola. And he was talking about her being a woman that wanted to go down as being the person that broke up the United Kingdom. And then he made a really, really dreadful gaffe as far as I'm concerned. He said, well, that's not all she'll be going down for.
Right, you know, Chris McElhenney of the Alpha Party has reported this to Police Scotland because they're not allowed to comment on it. Now, either Sunak didn't know Scots law and the court embargo on speaking about this. And of course, his very statement could be taken as influencing that ongoing investigation, after all, because he's the most powerful person in the legislature.
That's right.
So, Police Scotland and the Procurator Fiscal better take this bloody seriously, and the Crown Office.
Well, I hope they do, because we've got people up there. I might not agree with the people that did this, but the Alex Salmond trial, it's like Craig Murray. He ended up getting locked up for 3 months, was it? Something like that?
Something like that. Again, it's a personality assassination. And I'm kudos to Chris for actually taking this to the polls, because of course the SNP wouldn't be able to take it to the polls. You know. But having a third party, and Chris being right on the ball with this one, you know, people think I'm doing in the Alpha Party. I know, I recognise the right to exist. I don't see them as the route to where we want to go.
Well, you know, we've seen someone else. I'm not going to mention it because I don't really need to. You'll know what I'm talking about. A certain pundit on TV, a long-haired pundit who has been suffering from trial by TV. He's not being charged, but he's been told he's a dirty bastard. Something like that. Let's
get back to the substance of what you said also, David, on... let's get back to the substance also what you said on the Union being united and strong. That'll be why that his office, Govi's office, is trying to hold back to Poland. And we're waiting on a judge actually giving a judgment on whether that information should be released or no. But let's face it, the last commercial poll we've seen on Poland for English independence, and that's the reason why there hasn't been another one, 49% of people in England want to break up the Union. We're now at a point where it's about 38% in Wales. You've probably got about 50-50 in Northern Ireland and about 50-50 here at this point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts. But to actually try and influence an ongoing investigation here in Scotland, where the courts order throw up an edict on pass an opinion on it. You can report on it, but you can't pass opinion on it. Mr. Sunak wandered into the realms of passing an opinion. His opinion.
Well, we did discuss before the show, was he set up?
Yes, definitely, because his advisors should have known that.
Yeah. His advisors.
The speechwriter was either stupid and didn't know what was going on in the case, or somebody threw him under a bus.
Then, to add insult to injury, he started talking about schools. Yeah. And, he mentioned the schools and how he was going to, like, get everybody great at maths and all that. I'm all in agreement with that. If you all become great at maths, it's like I'll be able to send you problems and you can work them out for me, right? But anyway, but he didn't mention anything about the schools getting closed down because they're crumbling.
No, of course he didn't.
Yeah. Did he dare, So schools, we went on schools.
Let's stick at schools thing now, and the new qualifications in that road. Merging A levels and T levels, whatever a T level is, I've never heard of it. Of creating a T level or whatever.
It's supposed to be a technical. T for technical. Yeah.
Does anybody still have technical departments in their schools anywhere?
Yes. Yes, they do. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, on this new qualification thing, English Department for Education said it'll take 10 years to implement. So we've bollocks, it's a crap when it come. You'll be there in 10 years. And then, as we've already said, Labour's going to come in, have a look at the cost of implementing this and stick it right in the bin. Because they've set the bar so high on policy that can be implemented that if it can't be costed into what they see as the fiscal framework, and they're sticking to the Tory party fiscal framework, remember, austerity, on stilts, then this change won't happen. So really, Rishi's talking crap. But that was the schools funded.
David, that there are already technical qualifications you can get at a standard secondary school, right? So as far as I'm concerned, a T level, I think it just shows how out of touch with reality Rishi Sunak and his team are.
Aye.
Yeah, because maybe at the private schools they maybe don't have such a bent on technical things. Because they're only interested in getting into Cambridge or Oxford.
Well, we've spoken about the Labour. Didn't we speak about the Labour Party changing policy on private schools? They were going to tax them all the businesses and take away their charitable status, the way the Scottish government's doing it, right?
Yeah.
But no, they've decided to put the burden on the parent.
Yeah.
So they're going to charge VAT on the tuition fees.
Yeah.
Right. So that means that there'll be less people going to these private schools. Maybe that's a plug.
I think the people that send their kids to private schools, they're hanging on by their fingernails at the moment.
Some of them are right.
A lot of people that send their kids to Scotland, they're not massively rich people. They might have a decent job, and they might manage to be able to cover because don't forget, there's different ranges of private schools.
Right, you've got the residential ones and you've got the day schools.
Well, the one that I remember when I lived in Yarmouth in England, it was a good private school. I've actually been through it, been inside it, and all the rest of it. Right, it was a good school. It wasn't for everybody, but at the same time, it was it didn't cost an absolute breakneck fortune to send your kid there. However, it was still very, very much targeted on getting your kid into university or whatever, right? And that was it.
You better address this one for Eddie Gillis. Eddie, Dross and Jack did mention a Sturgeon, but they didn't try and influence the investigation the way that Sunak did by implying that she was going down.
That's right. You say somebody's going to prison. Effectively, that's what he said. That's influencing.
Billy, you're right, 20 people will die today, mate. But the point you're trying to make, effort, if you can tell us how to get across this line faster, I've already invited you to put it into the comments.
Yeah.
But for me, the main thing was he dodged rack and he announced a new qualification, which won't be the Education Department says can't be implemented for the next 10 years. So when Labour go to Costa, they'll just say, bugger it, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know? What was the other one?
So, basically, he then went on to summarise a lot of things, right?
Yep.
We said, this is before he made the announcement about HS2. He said, more infrastructure, less cancer deaths, better education, an NHS best funded and reformed. What does that mean?
That means privatised.
Yeah. And less cancer deaths. I mean, there's one good thing that came out, and we were discussing this, David. What's your thoughts on that, the smoking ban?
No, I want to go back to the other things you said before we get there.
Yeah, okay.
A United Kingdom, strong and united, and
it was a United Kingdom that remains united. Yeah.
We've already talked about the percentages there, right? But he also says the forces of separatism are dissipating here in Scotland.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mental case. Super chatting for John the truck driver. Well done, John, you passed. Congratulations, mate. How ironic that they cancelled HS2 in an old train station, aye. But we're just about to get to that. The cancellation of HS2. As I say, a United Kingdom that remains united, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
The way things are going, as I say, it looks as if England might want to be the first ones out the door. Especially if the people in the north get the idea of cutting Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, which means they might get a wee bit of share of the pot of London. But when HS2 in Manchester, that was fucking hilarious.
I think the reason that big tree got cut down the road was to bring attention of the English people to Adrian's Wall, saying, look guys, here it is. All you need to do is build it like several hundred feet higher and it'll be fine.
As I say, the idea of cancelling HS2. The other thing is, of course, it's announcing a policy U-turn out with the Houses of Commons. They're supposed to do that in the Chamber. You know, but he's going to create the new Network North, he's calling it. You know, absolute nuts. But the cost of this, just scrapping HS2, as we know, is coming at just shy of 3.2 billion quid.
Why?
That was the engineers to design it, buying up the land, all that sort of thing.
But they've already done that.
No, that HS1 have done that. It's 100 million quid. That's well over budget. 100 billion quid, sorry, it's well over budget, and it's still climbing. HS2 is only at the planning stage. They bought the land, and the architects and engineers have drawn up the route.
But so please explain to me how it's going to cost them 3.2 billion. I'm just looking at this from a distance here, right? Why is it going to cost money to stop?
That's what's already been spent.
No, what you just said was it's going to cost 3.2 billion.
It has already cost 3.2 billion, David.
Okay.
Right? And now it's been scrapped. That's 2.2 billion our money sparked up against the wall.
Well, I agree. Right. I'm fucking
this new Network North. And he also said he's going to cap one-way bus fares at £2. Did nobody tell him that the buses have been deregulated and private companies run the fucking buses?
And he was talking about being so like Maggie Thatcher as well.
I mean, this guy's as delusional as Andrew Bailey, and we'll get to him.
Yeah, big style.
Right, let's move on to the smoking thing.
Yes. Good idea.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And of course, the press are all giving it. Should the Scottish Government follow? Yes. But it is politically motivated, and we'll get to that. First, let's hear what the tobacco lobby had to say. Wait a minute, I'm puffing this. The tobacco lobby says that kids who want to smoke will get their cigarettes one way or another, and that means the black market. And as we've got open borders and the places are awash with dodgy fags and tobacco right now, the tobacco lobby are correct, because you would need custom controls to stop that illegal tobacco coming in. There is another side to that as well. Kids, you tell kids something illegal, they're going to try it. Fortunately, the amount of people starting smoking has been in a downward trajectory. But the tobacco lobby is correct. This will see a black market blossoming, and that will lead to other forms of deprivation among the young. Because they're going to have to deal with dodgy dealers to get tobacco, and dodgy dealers have other perversions as well as just selling dodgy tobacco. Right? There's always
this morning.
Let's emphasise this. It is a good idea. Now go on, ask me about the political connotation of it. Go on then.
Go on then. What's the political connotation of it, David?
Because if he does manage to get this one through Parliament before the general election, that means year on year revenue for tobaccos to the exchequer is going to go down. Yeah. They haven't been going down anyway, but they're still quite high.
Yeah.
You know? And that means Labour will be forced to continue to follow the fiscal framework, because they'll have lost the tobacco revenues within probably the first 5 years of the Parliament.
Yeah.
As people my age who smoke, subtract this mortal coil, or give up, which is generally what people in their mid-50s do. It's what I'm going to do again.
I was asked this morning why it wouldn't be a good idea to actually target, say, 17 or 18-year-olds.
Right?
The problem with that is that 17 or 18-year-olds may have already been smoking for a couple of years. And what's going to happen is this is going to turn to the black market, something like that. Whereas a 14-year-old, they're malleable at that age. So therefore, they're not going to turn to the black market. They wouldn't know what to look to begin with, right? So
they'll find them in the bars, and they know that. You know. Yeah. Anyway, does the tobacco lobby not fund the Tory party? No anymore. Not anymore, they don't. But it's a fair question, Margaret.
Nathan McAllister says, I don't think this smoking ban affects Scotland. I believe it's for Little England and Wales only.
That's why the press is asking the day.
What we're being asked for is Scotland, can you take part in this? Right?
No. The press is putting pressure on the SNP government today to implement the same policy. And I have to say the SNP government should implement the same policy for one reason only. I don't want to send that treasury doing that with fucking tax revenue that they're not supplying. We're already doing that with oil and gas and electricity and fuel and all that sort of thing. You know, because we have a bigger alliance, it's called it here. So per capita, our bills are higher than what they are south of the border.
Yeah. So anyway, sum up Rishi Sunak's speech.
Well done, Akis.
It was a speech full of empty rhetoric.
Aye, bollocks. And David, we better get motoring. Because we're just moving on to Braverman, the new and Hurst tweet.
I did say when we were putting down these headlines that you're opening up a can of worms here, right?
Anyway, Braverman was at it again, smacking immigration, smacking the LGBT community. And then we can run on to Jeremy Hunt, and he's smacking the benefit claimants and says he's going to force them into work. And he's going to protect the triple lock-on pensions. Now, that was an important one, wasn't it? Because they're only going to have to do this one more time. And this is also a challenge in the Labour Party. And did you see Angela Rayner's car crash?
He's a nice young man, that Jeremy Hunt.
I'm going to vote for the Conservatives. So this leads to a fresh fire, a feeding frenzy on the Labour Party. And so Angela Rayner's put forward to be the lamb to the slaughter, isn't she? So she's asked in all the mainstream channels, was Labour going to protect the triple lock? You said in the 2019 manifesto that you would protect the triple lock. And of course, Angela has to come away with the line of, no, I can't say that we cannot, haven't seen the public finances yet. And as we all know, public finances don't work like a country's finances, like household finances, and they can just print the money. And all this crap about debt, who we owe it to? Ourselves. You know, all we do is write ourselves a big cheque, write the debt off.
You know,
that.
No, but there's simple books that people can get that literally just a few pages long on modern monetary theory, right? And it's like these.
It's like it's no modern
access to the House of Commons library.
Aye. Yeah. But I mean, it's actually no modern monetary theory. It's the way money was supposed to work before we fractionalised banking and all that push.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, so we had a Sunak talking box. We had a Braverman stoking the fires of divide and conquer. We had Jack Boots Hunt coming in to tell benefit claimants, by the way, either you get a job or you get nothing. Yeah. Even if there's nothing anywhere near you, you get a job then.
Yeah.
You get a job or get nothing. And then we had the four women there who are vying for Rishi Sunak's jobs. We had Truss, Braverman, Morden, and Badenoch. We can basically take out Braverman and Badenoch because of the rank colour. The real reason why Truss the Letters beat Sunak the first time round is because she was the right colour.
Yeah.
And the Tory party are basic little white supremacists.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
The people in the Tory party who are no white are there as tokens to make the hardcore of the upper echelons of the Tories look normal. And we'll not talk about the present politicians when we talk about, you want to see if I look at the big beast in the House of Lords when you look for a big power in the Tory party. All right. Now, so they're all three. Believe it or not, the Lettuce had the biggest room. She had the biggest side room. And it was packed. Packed full of people to hear her say, let's crash the economy again.
He's talking about Liz Truss, by the way, when he says
the Lettuce. Liz Truss, the Lettuce. Her sideshow was sold out. And people want to hear her say, let's crash the economy again. Bet your ass everyone who was a city trader. And as I say, Braverman, she's been throwing culture war about. Morden's been throwing the culture wars about and trying to slag off Labour. And Badenoch, well, she's just a bad penny.
Yeah.
Aye, you're right. You know, Phil must be spinning his grave because this lot make him look gentle.
Yeah.
So, that basically covered the rest of the Tory party quite quickly, David, conference.
I think you had to.
I think we'll drop rents UK wide at the moment, won't we?
Yes, the stuff that I saw today regarding that, let's just get it open. It was Sky News that was reporting, the finance guy that comes on mid-morning, and what he reported was that inside London, that's within the M25. They generally work at inside the M25 and outside the M25, right? So inside the M25, the average monthly per month rent for a property in the inner London is 2,687 per month. That's the average. Outside, the other side of the M25, outside is 1,278. Now, okay, my thought on that was that in London, you can imagine there's an awful lot of properties that may jack that figure up. You're talking like the glittering gold flats owned by your Russian oligarchs that have been bought in and rented to whomever, right?
Right.
So definitely there'll be an effect on that.
Better quickly address this one. David McGinnis, my daughter has been told by her teacher that Scots have always been British, but I don't think this has always been true. What were we originally? Teacher is from Portsmouth. There's two schools of thoughts on this. Sometimes when they talk about British, they talk about the landmass, which has been called the British Isles for a long time. Why it's called the British Isles? I think we're back to Bodicea or something stupid. But no, it was coming high for years. And then there was several kingdoms of Scotland alone. And then, as I say, it amalgamated, I think it was under Kenneth, and became Alba. And that was in the...
Then there's the other side, which is the teacher has an opinion which is very unionist. And
not necessarily, David, because you could be talking about geographical.
Well, I appreciate that, but also there is that. So I'm just being unbiased. I'm saying it could be the fact that the teacher is very, very unionist in his opinion, and therefore is trying to convince the kids of you're not Scottish, you're British, right? And I would say in a straight face-to-face with that teacher, look, no, the child was born in Scotland, she's Scottish, and if she wants to be British, she can be. She can call herself British, but if you're not going to impose that on her, simple as that.
Yes, Neil, you're right. The modern term in calling the whole island, the British Isles, comes through the Romans with Britannia Minor. Britannia Major was in France.
Yeah.
So it was actually Little Britain was the title that the Romans gave it.
Yeah.
And that's where probably we still use the term Little Britain today.
Yeah.
Now, right, so rents UK wide, so the cost in London is absolutely outrageous, £2,500, and then just outside taps to 1,200 quid. But David, as you and I spoke about, if you get to some of the northern seaside towns which are absolute wrecks now, I mean,
you rent flats and all the rest of it for nothing halfpenny. You know what I mean?
And the average rent in North Lancashire at the moment is probably about 380 quid, because North Lancashire still owns most of its housing stock.
Yeah.
But that would be for a flat comparable size with mine. That'd be 3 bedrooms, dining room, a cloakroom, large hallway, bathroom, that sort of thing.
Yeah. There are seaside towns in England, which I knew personally, right? Peterlee, Grimsby, places like that. These places were devastated by Maggie Thatcher.
Aye.
And her action against the miners. And they haven't come right since that time. And these places, my goodness me, you buy I was looking at a house with 7 bedrooms and a swimming pool at the time I bought my 4-bedroom property, right? And it was that 7-bedroom house plus a swimming pool in Grimsby was 130 grand.
Aye, but I mean,
that would have been $500,000, $750,000 thereabouts. You know what I mean? So,
welcome aboard, Daily Blaze. Now, listen, we've been stealing your prime miniature thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But good afternoon, everyone. You're late because you took Poundland Penny's advice and started a fight with your neighbour. Oh, your multiculturalism isn't the what.
Right. Anyway.
Right. You can get a pass on the naughty step a day, mate. You can get a pass on the naughty step. So you don't need to worry about burning your arse in the candle. Right. So the rent thing, I mean, we know that there's places in Scotland where rents can be outrageous. You know, there's Edinburgh, there's Aberdeen, there's the West End of Glasgow.
You look at Edinburgh and you think, okay, if you're renting a Georgian property, one of the bonny Georgian properties you see in Edinburgh, you're not going to pay top and for that, you know what I mean?
You're going to pay $2-3 grand a month. Yeah. And that's for a basement apartment in one of them.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, let's move on. The North Lancashire Council backs down to people power.
Yes. Now,
I want to thank Don Lindsay and all the other sports groups and all the people who signed the petitions, all the people who sent emails. We didn't half rattle them, did we?
I don't think, with greatest respect to anybody that signed petitions and all the rest of it, right? I think that this has come from on high.
I mean, but that's beside the point. I'm not taking away from PO1.
Sir Kid Starver, that's come directly from what you're doing. Yeah.
It's a possibility. It could be that because that might have had an influence on the by-election that's happening today, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But, as I say, it's people power. They knew we were coming to the front door. That decision was made 2 days before we turned up on the front door.
It does
And
work.
all the sports clubs were going to be there.
Yeah.
All the community councils who use these facilities would have been there.
Yeah.
You know, all the play groups that use these facilities would have been there. The community cafes that go on to feed people who are hungry. The old granny would have been there because our one bank was being shut down.
Yeah.
You know, it was going to be a hell of a busy place in Motherwell Civic Centre.
Yeah. I'm not going to say again the thing about let's.
But you're right. There possibly was a political influence in this and all from on high because of today's by-election.
Well, I'm not going to say again about let's stop the games and the little 10 gods, but at some point we've got to have a reckoning with the blooming councils.
I'll put a programme out about it, David, congratulate the local people and telling the rest of the people who have got a problem with the local councils.
Yeah, well, with a problem in the winter time when I was blooming warning people about what was going to happen with people with their energy bills. It was at Edinburgh South, the one that's run by the Conservatives and Labour, right? It's a coalition, right? And the two SNP councillors stood up and started talking about getting warm banks and all the rest of it, right? And they were shouted down by the blooming leader of that council. We've got to have a day of reckoning with the councils. We're going to blooming get to their doors and tell them to blooming fuck off and don't come back, right?
Well, we'll get to that, but in the meantime, we have to put up with them.
Yeah.
People power can work.
Yeah.
Whether it was Starmer telling me to reverse it, Starmer would have looked at the situation here in North Lanarkshire anyways. Listen, they're going to pull your mountain down if you don't start to reverse us. You know? Or they're going to demand you hand these properties out to the local communities to run.
Yeah.
You know? But, as I say, there was probably a bit of political influence in it, but as I say, this was overturned about a day or two before we were showing up in the door, and we're going to show up in bloody mass.
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway, good news for the people.
North Lanarkshire, it was there. It was political. It was party politics within the council itself.
I do suggest that next time there is a council election, that you make sure these idiots are run out of office as quick as possible. All right. If we had to do that once, we'll do it again. All right.
Joe in the A9, did you see the debate in Parliament?
I didn't see this debate at all. I understand it was quite interesting and there's quite a bit of history to it. So can you explain it to us, David?
Aye, well, in the debate, it comes to light that the A9 would have been duelled a long time ago, because this project to duel the A9 started was in 2007. Yep. At that time, there was a minority SNP government, and they wanted to duel the A9, but the Tory, Labour, and Liberal Democrats wanted to go for the cheaper option of trams in Edinburgh. As it turns out, the trams in Edinburgh cost as much as it would have back in 2000 to duel the whole A9.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we know, the trams fiasco ended up costing 500 million quid.
Mm-hmm. Fast
forward to 2023, they were doing the A9 in sections. It was 50 million a section in 2007. Now, there's 10 sections. I think it's 10 sections, maybe 13. Anyway, today, to duel it, it's 100 million quid a section.
Yeah.
So the decision by the Tories, Labour and Lib Dem in 2007, we have to say, when they're screaming about the A9 no being duelled in that Parliament, they have to recognise their contribution to the fact that the A9 hasn't been duelled yet.
Yeah. And some of them have got to take responsibility for actually voting against it.
The fight was there, something to do with socialism and a velvet iron or something. I know, thanks for allowing us to borrow your Prime Minister daily. Thanks, mate. So, you know, as it turns out, the A9 should have been finished, and the project should have been finished in 2025. But because of the Edinburgh tram fiasco, at that time Scotland only had a $2 billion infrastructure budget, and the Edinburgh tram fiasco taking a quarter of it up.
Yeah.
You know,
it was
the public inquiry into the Edinburgh tram fiasco. It's cost hundreds of millions of quid and all.
yet again, it was just purely and simply the unionists in our parliament playing politics, purely playing politics, as far as I'm concerned. The tram system wasn't required.
No.
Some people may think the trams are quite good, but to be honest with you, it just wasn't. It wasn't required.
The people didn't want it.
Yeah.
You know, and the SNP government, the minority government, didn't want it. They wanted Joe the A9 at the time. In fact, I remember Alex Neil announcing it.
Yeah.
On the news, they say that it's a Labour-run council, not a Tory Labour coalition. No, it's not an official coalition, and the Labour's the biggest group. All right. There is a vote of no confidence in Jim Logue, is there? It's been filed with the SNP and others. Ah well, mere messing about in the Lanarkshire Council. The little tin pot gods will get another day in the sunlight. As David likes to call them. So Joe the A9, the fiasco and the Tories shouting for London to do the job, which the transport minister down there tell we Drossie to get his France on that one. They're no paying for it. Because we only have projects of national importance happening in England. When there's a project of national importance, I don't know if you know this, Peel, but a project of national importance is generally a project in England, and that means that all parts of the UK will contribute to it, like HS2. Scotland will be paying a tenth of the cost of HS2 for a train set that doesn't come here. But if we look at the Queensferry crossing, one of the most important pieces of infrastructure for UK industry and commerce, no, that wasn't of national importance, so only the Scottish taxpayer paid for that.
It always comes down to that way of thinking. We had the same thing with the Olympics back in 2012. We had to pay a part of the cost of the Olympics, which took place in London, and then 2 years later, we had the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, and we asked for London to foot part of the bill for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah,
we were told to get stuffed.
There you go.
And they did use those words. Yeah,
right. So that was the Joe the A9 debate. We better because we're starting to motor a wee bit, so we'll get there. Now this one's an interesting one.
Yeah, good at the last one. But let's see how you are at this one. The human rights charity Liberty were given the go-ahead to take the government to task over the misuse of the Henry VIII powers. Go on, tell us about that one.
Okay, Liberty have been given the go-ahead by a judge to take the government to court for the misuse of Henry VIII powers on the Public Order Act and sweeping powers that Suella Braverman has given to police to break up any form of public protest. Now, the reason why they've been allowed to take this the Home Office to court over this one is it's not that she couldn't have done it legally if this hadn't been discussed in Parliament and rejected by Parliament. She could have used the Henry VIII powers that way. Fascism, if you like, still fascism. But what happened was in the Public Order Act, there was an amendment to give police a full sweeping powers to break up any type of public protest. But the Parliament voted it down. There was a certain amount of Tories were against it, and they made sure they weren't there to vote that day, and that meant that the opposition parties won, and it was denied the government the right to give sweeping powers to shut down any public protest they want that comes about. Now, believe it or not, since Suella Braverman actually used the Henry VIII powers to give the police these powers behind closed doors, they have used them, David. A wee woman outside a court in England holding up a plaque saying, "Jurors, vote with your conscience." She got arrested. She's now gone to court.
Yeah,
and we seen it at the Tory party conference.
That would have been technically a contempt of court, and she was trying to influence the jurors.
It was a protest. That's all it had to be. She's holding up a placard. And we've seen that again at the Tory party conference where the police were apologising to the people with the disability charities. In fact, and they were out there with a loud tailor and with placards, and the police, we've all seen the videos, the police trying to take the placards away from them and telling them to be quiet.
That's right.
But the disability protesters resisted and the police backed off. But that's where they're misusing these powers. they were trying to stop a protest outside the Tory party. And that's these sweeping powers that a misbravement has given to the police. Now, the reason why they can take this to court, as I say, is because there was a debate and Parliament voted against giving the police these powers.
Yeah.
Suella Braverman went against the will of Parliament and given them this power. So Liberty are taking them to court because the human rights charity, the right to protest, the right to gather is a basic human right.
Yeah,
Was that good? Was that all right? Did I explain that all right?
Right. I don't know if people are aware, but the Henry VIII powers have been there for quite some time. Even before this internal market bill and all the rest of it came about, the Henry VIII powers could be used by cabinet ministers, right, to change a bill that's already been passed. It was to save time of going back through all the different votes going between the two houses and all the rest of it. It meant that a cabinet minister could go in, if it was just a single word, oh, there it is there, and change it. And that was the Henry VIII. But if you figure, if someone is a bad person that's working in a cabinet office for the government, for a cabinet member, they have the power to misuse those powers.
Stephen, you're asking us why the SNP are quiet about these things. I know that this is the sort of work that a Daily Blaze covers, covers in the committee workings in Westminster. The SNP are no quiet on these things. The reason why you don't hear the Scottish politicians talk about these things is these laws don't apply here.
Yeah.
They don't apply here.
Plus the fact our news agencies in Scotland are very unionist. And they don't want to get the words that the SNP say. All they want is any muck that they can drag up about the SNP. You'll notice.
The Alpha parties will get it.
Hang on. You notice the other week there we had the news that came out. If you were looking, our rail fares, there's going to be no peak fares at the moment. That was an SNP good story because that was prompted by the SNP. Did you hear much about it on Sky News, on BBC or whatever?
No, they don't want England to know that we've scrapped peak time fares, for fuck's sake.
That's right.
Oh, you want a meat borough? No prescription charges, no tuition fees, free opticians, free dentists for the under 25. Granny gets her bus pass 6 years early. Kids get bus passes from 12 to 23. You want them to really blow their top when they find out there's no bloody.
They'll be there thinking, come on, we must be subsidy junkies.
We must be forgetting that we've got a more progressive tax system with 5 bands and 3D3. Oh dear. Hey, but but I mean, one funny day, Daily Blaze, get that out there. I'll come on and we'll talk about it.
Aye, good one. Very good one. Yeah.
You just talk about the problems and trains down there, and I'll just pop up and say, what the hell you mean that?
In actual fact, it would be good to actually open up the conversation, if you like, about the social contract that the people of Scotland have got from their government to the social contract that the people of England have got from their government.
Aye, and talk about things like the 2012 Health and Social Care Act.
Yes.
You know, and the different standards of care that you get and things like that. Some things, there are specialist hospitals in England that do things up probably better than what we can here in Scotland, there's no doubt about that. But generally, when it comes to general health and well-being, we have a better social contract. And the people of England should be looking for the same.
Yes, and they should get the same.
Yes, they should.
Their entitlement, they should be getting it, you know.
Yep. So, that's a misuse of powers by Suella Braverman and Liberty taking her to court. Right, so
what about Andrew Bailey?
Oh.
Of the Bank of England, he's the governor, the governor of the Bank of England. He's going gaga.
No half. He gives an interview to some mad fucking financial press mob on he believes that there are exciting benefits to Brexit for Britain to come. And at that point, Davy fell out laughing. And of course, the phrase came into my head, nurse, nurse, Andrew Bailey's off his meds. Anyway, do you know why he said there's great advantage to Brexit? Because it could help the banking sector. It would allow them to deregulate. Is that not what Alistair Darling did, leading to the 2008 financial fucking crash?
No, but the thing is, it wasn't a deregulation as such. It was just all the stuff that was being done by Brown and Darling at the time. If you remember.
The Governor of the Bank of England says Brexit's brawl because the banking sector could make a killing provided we deregulate the banks.
Yeah. But if you look back at that time, by the way, the biggest, most scurrilous little bastard that was involved in that was the Royal Bank of Scotland ABN AMRO scandal. And right at the centre of it was one certain little bastard called Rishi Sunak, who walked away for that, I think, with 100 million quid in his back pocket for insider trading. Fucking take me to court, you little bastard.
Hey, no bad, no a bad payoff for shredding Fred's reputation. Because remember, at that point in time, the RBS was the world's biggest investment bank.
Yeah.
It was the biggest bank on the planet.
And it was Rishi Sunak. Who else? Who were the three?
The one that owned YouGov. What's his name again?
Sahawi.
Kwasi Kwarteng.
The Kwarteng kid.
These are the guys. These are the three guys that did the due diligence for the Bank of Scotland.
No. They didn't do the due diligence. They talked Fred the Shred out of doing due diligence.
That's it.
Right? Because it was a done deal. It was this you'll make a fortune on, you know.
Aye. Some really good shenanigans going on in that road at that time, eh?
This is not conspiracy theory stuff, guys.
The other thing that Andrew Bailey said, that it's worth the hit to the economy in the short term because it will be great in the long term. But he's on a Jacob Rees-Mogg time scale of 50 years.
Yeah. By
that time, trading blocks all over the planet will have changed. You know, in the meantime, you're looking at 10, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years of misery for the UK population. Or as it will be component parts, but then we're talking about England. Scotland will probably do no bad because we'll be back in the EU, we'll be back in the trading bloc. Wales and Northern Ireland will probably do okay because they'll be back in the trading bloc, whereas Little England will just, let's face it, unless they change their voting system and everything, nobody's going to trust them. And they need to really redo their political system, because what's the point of entering into an agreement with a UK government when 10 minutes after you've entered into that agreement, they've written it up or they're altering it in small and significant ways. You know, they're breaking international law in small and significant ways. So they're breaking their treaties.
Yeah, but if you're talking about 50 years, in 50 years, an economy is going to turn over anyway. And a lot of people that were mouthy at the beginning of that 50 years,
they're going to be there.
You know, so them saying, "Oh, it's going to be 50 years before it gets," lying bastards. And basically, they're just saying, "I'll leave it alone for 50 years. We'll talk about it then." Aye, okay.
So it would appear that Andrew Bailey's went mad. His idea is, yep, it'll be good for the UK when we turn the banking sector into Singapore on terms.
Which they know. Yeah. In actual fact, Brexit did a lot of damage to the banking industry. Not just banking, but we're talking the financial services industry.
Yes.
Because they lost all their passporting rights by coming out of Europe. Passporting means that they could work out finances for somebody in Brussels or somebody in Amsterdam or wherever, right? They can't do that anymore because they don't have the rights to do it. They don't have the license to do it. That's what's called passporting.
But also a equivalency called it in the banking sector as well as passport. It also meant things like insurance companies couldn't trade into Europe and things like that as then you had legal services couldn't trade across Europe anywhere. And you had advertising agencies that couldn't trade across Europe anywhere. But most of these places did have offices open. But when you look at legal services and insurance services, that's a sole one.
Yeah, so you look at that time, what was going on, ended up where banks went to Frankfurt, they went to other countries that were within the EU, so that meant they could then become part of the
European. Was also the clearing house for all euro transactions. That's moved along.
Yeah.
So, but say the Bank of England, Governor of Bank of England was gaga. Right now, as we get to the end of this hour, because I've got things to do. I'm working tonight. We get to the end of this hour, we're going to end on Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election. Now, this isn't for the elderly people who are going to vote, because they're already been out and voted.
Yeah.
But this is to the working parents who are coming in, and the young people who are coming in for work. Get your tea and get your ass down the polling station. We know it's a miserable night, and you might have to drag some kids along with you. But this is important, especially if you're an SNP or pro-independent supporter.
Right. Yeah.
Get to the polling station. It's open to 10 o'clock. And remember to take your voter's ID with you. You don't want to have to make a trip twice. It's important that you take your voter's ID with you.
Yeah, but you don't need your polling card.
No.
Your polling card's just a bit of paper that the council send to you, right?
That's basically what you're on the register.
And you give your name and your address, and they do it like that. You're not required, but you do need your voter ID. Okay.
You need your voter ID, and you've got to be on the electoral register. Don't show up if you're not on the electoral register.
Yeah.
But I mean, I imagine that most people will be on the electoral register. But as I say, this is for the hard-working parents who are just getting in, and they've got to feed their kids before the day end else. It's a miserable night. It's tempting not to bother. Bother. Get out there and vote.
Chat up your neighbours. If you've got a car, offer them a lift around the polling station. Bet you the Labour mob are doing that.
Oh, they've got a mob up in Derby because, as we know, they've been busting them in for England and they're going round England. You know, they've been busting them in for London, the south east, everywhere. And the reason they're doing that is because local activists wouldn't come out because of Starmer's position on various policies, and of course he parachuted in a candidate who didn't bloody want. You know. So
anyway.
Today in Hamilton and Rutherglen West, we've got a bunch of people from Derby who will be in the constituency until 8 o'clock tonight. I don't know how many got on the bus from Derby to here, but when you come across Labour activists today, you'll probably find their English again. And when you're passing them when they're charting your door and asking you to get to the polling station, say, aye, welcome up to England. That reminds me to vote SNP.
Right, okay. That's it. I'm calling a halt now. Yep. All right, you know what you've got to do. If you enjoy what we do, please give us a like. Goodness sake, what's that going to cost you? Right. Also, thank you for anybody that is donated during the show or donates via bank account, which we'll put out details of again, right?
Did he go up every show, David?
Yeah, and if you haven't subscribed to us yet, please do. The subscription gives us more ability to do this, all right? And plus, you've got to remember, we're being seen in 112 countries worldwide. Don't know if this show will do that, but that's what YouTube have told us, right? So if you enjoyed us, we're the two Davies. If you hated our guts, we're the Rishi Sunak Appreciation Society.
Right. And if you're on Facebook, folks, you're as much of a valuable audience as our YouTube audience. Smash the like button, and everybody, if you wouldn't mind, if you like what we do and the truths that we tell, share us across your social media platforms, please. Let other people hear us. All right? And as I say, hit that like button, subscribe. It all adds to the advertising revenue that we get, which is very, very little actually. Most of the stuff we get is for you guys with super stickers and super chat and fine into the bank account, and we'll get it out the door as soon as we can. As I said, yesterday, Lochaber got awarded £200 to help the food bank thanks to you guys. Now, that just leaves one thing left to do, Davey.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys. Girls. Whatever.
I'm Glaswegian, for goodness sake.